Good morning, Ann. How are you?
Hello. Good morning, Matt. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. It's a busy morning. Actually, every morning's a busy morning the past few weeks. I've told you, like, I'm doing a lot in marketing. So
Yeah.
every day is kind of crazy. So every day there is like new signups from the new marketing. And then so we get a little busy. My support team, sometimes they come back with me with like certain questions like they don't know the answer to, or AI doesn't know the answer to, they come to me. And at the
Mm,
same time, I'm working in my head. I have to do like creatives for marketing to get more people. So like
hmm.
it's kind of I'm doing, and then plus I do I do some software development too
Yeah.
for to improve the product. So I'm like doing like three things at once. Um,
Yeah. That's a lot.
yeah. So usually, if marketing isn't going, what happens is, well, new signups aren't like blasting off, so support's stable.
Yeah.
So that means like I can just focus on product. But
Hmm.
when I focus on marketing, I'm actually doing two things. I gotta keep optimizing and trying new things in marketing for every other
Sure.
week, and then at the same time I'm getting signups that once sometimes it'll be like maybe majority white label customers, and my staff doesn't really answer the questions well to white label because it's like generic business stuff like how do I price the product and stuff, and that means like I gotta step in those roles. So it's kind of weird. It's either I'm doing one thing or I'm doing three things. It's never like
Wow.
linear. um,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, you're busy. You got a lot going on.
Yeah. So good news is like social media has been doing good. We did some Reddit ads. There's some offline campaigns going on.
What is your
Um,
metric there when you say social media is doing well? What is that metric? What do you look at?
this is really weird. You can look at it as profile clicks
Sure.
because definitively that goes to our website.
Yeah.
But a lot of our customers watch on their phone and then go on Google, right? So you can't really attribute that well of like where do they come from aside from asking them. Which we
Right.
don't ask. We don't really ask unless they like maybe upgrade and like, hey, where did you find us? But and maybe we could add a little UI to say where you came from initially anyway. But
Yeah.
you can't attribute well anymore, and the behavior is weird. All I can say is when we post organically, it doesn't matter if it's 100 views or 1,000 views.
Mm-hmm.
It somehow gets like as long as there's a little consistency behind it, like past 3, 4, 5 days, the trailing indicator is a sign up and an upgrade almost right away.
Wow.
Versus when we don't do marketing, you get a sign up and it's a slow upgrade
Okay.
because we're selling what we're trying. Like we're promoting the idea of what our software solves,
Right.
and what our software solves is behind a paywall. So naturally it goes in. But if you come in organically, you weren't seeing anything that's kind of pushing you or hinting at something. You just stumbled upon it. You're taking your time. You're
Yeah.
not going to. Oftentimes, those users won't upgrade right away unless they get the aha moment very, very quickly. So
Yeah.
our marketing is we sell the aha moment. So once they come in, they say, "I want what you told me," and they upgrade right away. So by that, it's a huge stretch of inference, but we can say, okay, our marketing efforts are working because the upgrade velocity is happening much higher,
Uh-huh.
and the time between sign up to upgrade is much shorter, and we know like things are working.
I
It
see.
doesn't mean like we're looking at metrics like, oh, we got more profile clicks. No, there's definitely been times where we've gotten more paid upgrades, not just signups, paid upgrades than signups, than clicks on a profile in a given week. Now, granted, we have a lot of sources of marketing, but
Yeah.
like our main source is social media. So I don't, I think a lot of our customers just go on their phone, they look at it, and they go on their computer and just type in the Google ChipBot, or we tell people now just ChatGPT ChipBot. Our answer was it like it was AEO, answer optimization. I forgot the acronym. It's a crazy morning. We just tell people just GP. All you have to do is say what is ChipBot, and our link will come up first. Or you can ask certain questions that we solve, like why should you use video on a website, and we'll be number one in GPT. So we'll get
Awesome.
also like referral by ChatGPT as well.
That's
Sometimes that
great.
acts as a
Isn't that an interesting category these days? Referral by ChatGPT
I mean, that's what marketing is anyway. It's referral by everything. It's
by
very,
everything.
I think it's very hard unless you have your own personal brand to say,
Yeah.
you can really drive whatever you say someone to do, right?
Right.
Elon Musk can do that, but I can't. So everything I do is actually referral by something, right? If I'm advertising on TikTok, well, it's referral by TikTok through the proxy of ads.
Right.
If it's UGC, it's UGC's referring the brand to the user. So really everything's a referral anyway. I know you're trying to build your personal brand, and that's where you can bypass a lot of that. But ChipBot's entire business model is, we are being referred somewhere, whether it's organic or paid.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Very
Fun
cool.
world.
Fun world, indeed. I know so many things. I always get really good tidbits from you too of how you see marketing and how you guys measure that and what you're working on next. I mean, you're in a big growth plan, so it's exciting to see how you guys do after this push.
Yeah, who knows? It's the LTV. So we have a very long LTV. So it's very easy for us to say, let's spend $3,000 to get. I'm sorry. Let's do it more realistically. Let's spend $8,000 to get $1,500 a month of revenue. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
That's how we think. So it's hard to say if your marketing's working because, well, you got to wait it out before you see the true bottom line ROI. But we trust it. We know our product. We have a very long lifetime value once they're in the product and paying.
Yeah.
So that means that, it's hard to know if metrics are good until like 24 months later, because you basically said, well, we did the spend 2 years ago, or even like 18 months ago, we did the spend. We saw the full acquisition, and then the cohort of that 2 months of heavy promotion, we can see, okay, 70% or 60% of the customers stayed past the 12-month time period. You hit ROI at month, maybe month 7, month 8, month 9. And then you get to reap the profits. And then even you still have to keep waiting, because what are you doing with those profits? Are you just like fucking around and just like spending on random stuff? Or are you reinvesting it into the same things that got you those, that first wave of customers? Yeah. So that's at the point where you can actually do a real analysis of like, how do the numbers work out? Versus I think maybe 5-10 years ago, definitely 10 years ago, I was probably a different mindset. I would try to look at like, okay, what's the click-through rate? What am I paying for click-through rate? Am I making ROI at the end of the month? My long-term view on ROI is very much like 12 to 18 months versus like back in my other companies, I would like probably measure it like as soon as possible and hope the LTV lasts that long.
I see. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay. So then do you consider ChipBot still a startup company?
No. So it's definitely more like a lifestyle, but has some characteristics of startup, right?
When you say lifestyle, what do you mean? What does that mean?
Lifestyle, I think there's a lot of interpretations for this. So I'll give you my spin on it. You're being the business because you like the business, right? I have no intentions to sell ChipBot right now. There's no intentional exit strategy. So what's pushing growth then? It's just me.
Right.
So it's whatever I feel like in terms of where the company needs to go. That means it's really much ingrained to what I do day to day. Whether I put a lot of energy and time into ChipBot or don't, ChipBot is directly influenced by that. Right? If I want to say I want to, like these past few months, I say, okay, I want to add another 1,000 customers, right? And boom, it takes off. But then once I get to there, do I need to keep putting the gas pedal on? No, I want to keep my sanity a little bit. That is a lifestyle business, right? That's a small business, or just a business that's operating like a textbook.
I see. Well, what is a startup business? And when did you leave being a startup? Wouldn't you say that you started as a startup, or you always started as a lifestyle business?
I think I've always started as a lifestyle business. It doesn't mean you can take traits of the startup. I mean, you have to in the beginning anyway. But no, I started ChipBot knowing I'm going to serve a demand that I'm pretty aware of, and I'm uniquely positioned to do it without raising money. And that means I'm not going to have a rocket strapped to my back, and I'm going to the moon regardless if I want to or not. And that is the difference between a startup and a true startup, because you're focused on growth at all costs.
Yes.
right? And ChipBot, there's even today with the marketing stuff, like I do have that sense of growth at all costs, but I'm willing to stop it when things get out of control. Versus a startup, you have an you raise money in order to get that. You got to raise money because
Right.
you cannot unless you're very wealthy and you can bootstrap the entire thing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And even so, I don't even think that's enough pressure for you. You kind of need a boss.
I see. Yeah,
Bosses.
it's the raising the funds that gives you the pressure in the startup culture to grow as fast as you need to grow for the goals of the business.
Right. Like there's impact, there's ambition, there's return of value to the people backing you. There is
Sure.
return of faith, right? People are believing you, so you don't want to let them down. Your employees, everyone else that's not necessarily financially tied. You have so much pressure. You have to grow at all costs.
I see.
And
Yeah.
and your job is to grow at all costs or bust, and it's okay to bust. I know plenty of individuals that personally know that all they do is grow companies. Most of them don't work out, and what happens is like they know it early. They return the funds. Some of them at least return the funds to investors, and they're like, "We're going to start a new company. We're going to do the same thing," right? And they just keep going. That's startup, right? That means they're trying to shoot the moon. And depending on where they are in their life, they may say, "I want to stay at that company now for a while," or they'd say, "I want to exit later," right? Whatever they want. But that's what a startup is. You are doing growth at all costs. I think, and it's a term that I think a lot of people don't really understand because, like
I think it's a term I've misused. That's why I really like that we're talking about it today, because I literally have called myself a startup at one, which I'm not. I'm very much so a lifestyle business like you. But it's funny because I think it's misused all the time. I don't think that we really define what that is. We just think if a business is starting and in the starting phase, it's a startup.
It kind of feels like that's what it should be called. All right. I mean, it makes sense. You start up, right? You're starting a company, right? You put two and two together.
Right.
But
it's not the case if you agree with this concept, right? Which this concept is, no, the startup is you are literally plugging it with capital to grow as fast as possible and to get that pressure from interested parties, interest groups, right? Of we want to back you. We want this to grow. And it could fail. I mean, that thought alone just made me really uncomfortable. The fact that you would start a business and know that it probably will or could fail, I think that makes it very different than a lifestyle business like yours and mine. Because, I mean, for me, I started my businesses with the concept that I enjoy the work. I like the business. I don't envision selling it anytime soon. And I'm not trying to get capital to grow as fast as possible. I'm doing it to kind of serve me with the work environment that I want.
Yes. So there's a couple of things. Startup doesn't mean only capital. This is my opinion, my interpretation of it. Mm-hmm. I don't think startup is only capital. I think actually it's 110% effort. So if you think about 110% effort, like 100% effort's easy, but 110% is not. Because to go beyond your limit, you have to sacrifice something.
Yeah.
What are you sacrificing? Are you sacrificing your relationship? Are you sacrificing your sanity? Are you or mental health? Are you sacrificing finances?
Sleep?
Are you sacrificing your lifespan? Right? So what are you sacrificing to get there? When I started ChipBot, it was 110% effort for about 3 years. And then once you get
But what did you sacrifice when you were operating at 110%?
Everything.
Did your relationship suffer?
Relationship suffered, finances suffered. I learned a lot about my health because that suffered, but that was actually a good thing because I got real serious into health during COVID because I went through that period. Everything. You throw away everything. Your friendships, everything.
So wouldn't that make you a startup then at that?
That's why I said I take traits of being a startup. But I'm for sure running like a lifestyle. Like if I go to an investor and they say, "Are you a startup?" No, hell no. But I know I'm just like uniquely positioned where I have the resources that I have to keep growing the company. And I got fortunate that I got that hockey stick growth during COVID that, all the stars aligned. And because of that, I can definitely attribute that it was just due to just nonstop effort. Like 99% of my efforts failed for like 3 years. The idea and core concept was there, but I think reflecting, I just didn't have everything I needed to succeed, and I wasn't looking in the right spots to succeed. So in order to get to those points, you have to not give up. Like you for sure just have to not give up. And then by not giving up, if you think about it, you're losing, financially, you're losing money. You're not paying attention to relationships. You're not paying attention, like whether it's your spouse or even friends, or family, right? You're in a hole. You're in a hobbit hole for like 3 years, and it just gets worse and worse and worse, right? So you have to be kind of neurodivergent to be in that space, because how are you going to say, okay, I'm just going to disconnect from society? Back then I was like 27, and just keep in mind, this is like my 5th company, so I had even more conviction than any other company, because I've been there already, but it was never at this length duration. And you got to be like, okay, I'm just going to keep doing this until I die. It's basically how my mentality was.
What was it though about this ChipBot concept that made you have that much grit and determination to see it through? Why was this different than the other 5 companies that you had?
Well, one, I saw, I'm the only founder of ChipBot versus every other company besides my very first one, I had a co-founder.
Oh, I didn't know that. So this is the first company you've founded all on your own. My very first company I kind of don't count in my head, but my first company I also started alone. That was a front end development, e-learning software, but I never got a lot. I didn't really get any traction, so it's hard to count that as a real company. But yeah, I would say this is the first company I solo founded where I'm managing a balance sheet. We'll say it like that. Okay. I actually have a P&L, and I have to worry about a lot of things on the finances end. So you found out. So I found out on my own, and the conviction is very simple. Actually, it is. I know it can work. It's a very simple belief system. It's like, I know it can work. Okay.
It had nothing to do with
you knew, you just had the faith, like what I'm founding, I know can work.
It's a faith. And then the other piece of that is I'm willing to die with that.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. I think that's really inspirational for a lot of listeners, because I think when you are founding something and you just feel like the combination that you have isn't working, what is it? You have to figure it out, right? It's like a puzzle. Like, what piece can I change? What can I move? Does it need to be turned around in a different direction? Right. And I think that belief system and faith that what I have is good and it will work, but what are the things that I can change to make it work? And that, for me, I mean, it sounds like from what I've learned about you so far in all of our podcasts is that you love when things are broken. You love when you have challenges in front of you because you want to fix them.
I love solving problems. I mean, that's my main motivation for work. Is I really like to solve problems.
Yeah.
And startups are just full of, right? So they're still in the confines of startup, right? 110% effort. Startups are very fun problems to solve because you're working in 90% unknown unknowns.
Right.
And you're building up. Sure, you can copy and stuff, but to get that hockey stick growth, it's, if that's the goal, it's you have no idea. You are paving your own path. There's no path to follow. You can kind of get hints of what other people did, but often what other people did, a lot of times timing is a big thing, right? ChipBot's hockey stick growth. I guess I would have to attribute the timing of the coronavirus because a lot of digital products and digital things just skyrocketed in 2021.
Sure.
And then TikTok for B2B was actually for the very first time growing in 2021. I jumped on that bandwagon as fast as I can. And then we added video to the product as well. So like all those things converge at once. And it's like, oh, okay, huge amount of signups, like huge, something like uncontrollable. It's actually a really fun moment when you're in there. And I mean, that's really all it takes is just you really just got to believe in yourself.
Believe.
I think everyone
So
has their own
Matt,
belief system.
Do you think that people start businesses with the intention that it's going to be a startup or it's going to be a small lifestyle business? Do you think that intentionality is there from the beginning, or do you just kind of fall into the category based on what your output needs to be?
You fall into the category. Because if you start raising money, your investors are going to say you need to raise more money. The second you're raising more money, you got to put a reason to it, because as you raise, you're going to go in front of people. It's like, why do you need my money?
Yeah.
Right. And then you're going to be like, oh, I need this. Of course, that investor is no longer going to be an investor for you, but you'll learn from that experience, pitch to the next investor. And then due to attempting to raise, you understand what it means to raise. It means like you need to put this money into marketing, you put this money into operation, whatever the capital deployment looks like. You start to understand that. And once you understand capital deployment, you understand a little bit more about how the operation truly works.
I see.
Now, what you don't understand is what a customer looks like, because you're only talking to investors.
Right.
So investors are only going to know, like, investors are experts at dissecting businesses, but they're not necessarily experts at saying how to get me 1,000 new customers the cheapest way possible. Right. So that part is where it gets tricky, because a lot of folks just spend all day just building a big operation, and they're preparing for a windfall of customers. And then when they actually start executing their go-to-market strategy, it doesn't work. Right. And what happens is, a lot of time, there's a lot of variables that start happening, but like one path I see some companies take was like, okay, divest in operations. Like, we don't need so many developers, we don't need so many managers. Like, put all that money back into marketing. Right? We grew too fast in certain ways. But yeah, startups, you just, most of the time for people like us, you fall into it. Now, if you're naturally in a tech hub, like I'm only in tech, so I can't speak for other industries, but like if you're naturally in a tech hub, you do have an option right from the beginning. And I know a lot of folks that says, okay, I'm going to start this business. I'm going to raise $100,000 to $250,000 as a seed round from friends and family, maybe one or two angel investors. And then the intention is to see if the business is viable. You don't even care if it makes money or not. It's like, you're just spending $250,000 to say, is this idea, is my thesis, right? Is the thesis, can it be proved out? Yeah. If you get to that stage, the only next stage from there is to raise the next big round. Sometimes it's an A, sometimes it's a bridge round. And from there, that's when you actually start being serious about like, okay, we're going to make a company. Like, there's plenty of companies that only have like 10 customers or very low amount of customers at the seed round, because they're just trying to prove it out. Like, is this something that people care about? Is this something that, because sometimes maybe they're big customers, they're not like ChipBot where it's all about volume. Some companies are focused on like just like a few big ones. Yeah. Sometimes you only need $250,000 to test that theory out. Interesting. And then once you do, okay, great. You take that use case, right? You have your ammunition, and you go to Sequoia, you go to Origin, you go to, maybe you go to Y Combinator, right? You go, or as an accelerator, you go into all these spaces and you raise from maybe institutions. Or if you're well connected, you can actually extend your friends and family round and be like, okay, I know 10 to 20 true big angels. I don't need to go to VC. I can just go to them, and that could be your A round. Whatever it means. It's like you're raising you're usually raising 2 to 4x of what your original raise, because now you're ready to go. You're ready to say, I'm a higher support.
At that point of raising, would you say that most of that raising is to then build out the team to then further expand the proof of concept that's been proven?
Yeah. And everyone's different at the stage. I personally think if you're raising an A, you're not in proof of concept stage. You're not necessarily in scaling stage either, because to go from 10 to 100 is very different from 0 to 10. Right. So if you start up and you raise a seed, you're really going from 0 to 10. But you can't say, oh, I'm a scale. A lot of people think, oh, great, just do what you did from 0 to 10, scale with the new money. That doesn't work either. So it's like, you take the new money, the concept works, but now you have to take the money, about half of it's going to be, maybe, hopefully not half, but I would assume around half, it is wasted on how to do the right distribution and scaling mechanic, because you got to fail a lot in that phase too. And once you succeed there, then you can go to the next level where you may not need to raise anymore. Maybe you can just kind of get by and then grow organically.
Mm-hmm.
But that, it shouldn't be a proof of concept at seed A. If it is, it better be like rocket. It better be like AI, like you're inventing AI, like OpenAI, or it better be like rocket science, right? It needs to be something crazy where you're going to be like, I'm going to go to an A round with no customers, or with like 2 customers that make no sense. No, it needs to be fully fleshed out. It's just the other stuff is underperforming.
Interesting. You had said this earlier. Was it that OpenAI is still operating like a startup and they have thousands of employees? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah. OpenAI, they're still growth at all costs. If they want to make more money, right? Like let's go into not from a startup, but let's stay into a stable enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
All they have to do is say, stop making new models.
Yeah.
80 to 90% of our actions is based on inferencing. Mm-hmm. Like we don't really do anything crazy with AI. We just inference from it, all of us today.
Yeah.
So that means like they don't have to spend money on these new models. Technically, right. They can just keep optimizing. The reason
but they haven't even, in my opinion, with who I engage with here in Denver, they haven't even gotten the adoption rates of what they've created, of what exists. Like the adoption of the user, of the public, fully understanding and using what they have. Like they keep creating net new. They don't have to keep creating, because they have to work on how do we grow and adopt, like get the adoption of what we have, right? Like that's my perspective of it.
I think they have pretty good market penetration. Like they're the top app in iOS. Yeah, I mean, like anyone who's not using AI, they're probably they're in 2 camps. They're electively not using it, mm-hmm. or they're old enough that it's not important to them.
I see.
Right, okay. which means that marketing is not going to reach it. I think from a market penetration perspective, OpenAI, they could make billions. Just all you have to do is do a small rate hike, stop spending billions of dollars in new training, new models, and then boom, they're like the largest company in the world. That's the difference. Actually, that's a very good, easy way to illustrate it, because that's just one decision that Sam could do to say, I'm going to switch from startup mode to enterprise mode. Like full enterprise. Like, because in my eyes, an enterprise means you are doing one thing, and that one thing works really, really good. Mm-hmm. And you're going to optimize the entire business to do that one thing.
Right.
No other waste. Right. That's why enterprises are so boring to work for, because it's like there's SOPs, there's managers, there's managers everywhere, because they're just optimizing for absolutely everything. Yeah. Because you don't need to grow in new areas. You're going to keep the same area. Now you can grow in your own segment that you establish that you're dominant at. Yeah. But you don't need to go in like what right now they're doing. I think OpenAI is just trying to take over the Hollywood, which I think is awesome. Mm-hmm. Like disrupt another industry. Right. I think that's like, to me, I find a lot of joy in that, because then things are uncertain, and it's like, wow, that's kind of crazy. It's like
Matt lives for uncertainty.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I live uncertainty for others too, right? It's not just me. So I love
that concept that was like rocking me right now, that OpenAI has thousands of employees and they make billions of dollars, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're still a startup. Like that concept alone is kind of rocking me right now, of just.
They're still going to the moon. That's why.
That's still the rocket ship. It's reframed my whole perspective of startups and startup culture. And we often think that startups are these small, little ideas that we plant the seed to grow. But there are probably several, thousands. I don't even know how many companies that are still operating in that startup label, that startup mode, that we view as huge companies. And I don't know. That's really fascinating to me. It's kind of resonating with me in a different place. Like,
OpenAI is still pretty small. It's still a seed. This is where it's really important to understand the contrast. Yeah. If you look at OpenAI's market potential, they can disrupt government. They can disrupt movies. They can disrupt television. They can disrupt video games.
Yeah.
They've already disrupted software development. They've already disrupted
marketing.
Well, even subparts of marketing, right? Writing, social media managers.
Yeah.
Even UGC with Sora, do you still need UGC creators? Because now you can just create them on the fly, right? Look what they're disrupting. Look at the disruption potential and look at where they are. It's not necessarily looking at employee size count, because to be honest, I think their employee size count will go down over time.
Right.
Right. They're just a growth at all costs. You're just like, it's easier to plug a person there to solve this big problem versus like try to engineer internally.
Exactly.
So if you look at it, like it's way further than 10,000 feet above. If you look at it from like kind of a solar system level.
Okay.
OpenAI is really, really, really small. It actually, to me, it looks like a startup too. If you look at where the ambition and the mission is going and where it is today, it's probably only reached 5%, maybe even less of its true potential.
Okay. I could see it that way. Yes. I do.
And this is why I said startup is all about effort, right? Sure, capital is often involved. But if you don't put it, if you don't care about getting to the maximum, that's the effort piece. Yeah, you go straight down to.
And it's just a lifestyle business.
Lifestyle. Well, if you're small, if you're just like, I'm a small business, so like, we don't have any managers, right? So it's just people and me. It's just, people help execute and just me to help direct, plan and manage. That's more of a lifestyle business. But then if you reach a certain point where you can be more of an, operate like an enterprise, right? That's not a lifestyle either, but you're a stable enterprise. That's kind of how I see it in my head. I'm sure there's like more correct terms, but that's really the difference. Startups are painful, very painful. I don't like startups.
Yeah, I love that we broke this down today. I think that it is going to give some perspective, and of course, these are all just our opinions, but going to give some perspective on how you label things and how you go into business and what your growth and intentions are. So cool. Thanks for the conversation. Thanks for your perspective today.
Thanks, Anne. Appreciate it. This is great.
Yeah, awesome. Well, that does it for OnlyFounders today. Thanks for joining us, guys, and we'll have a good one. We'll see you next time.
Bye.